Perfect. Hey, happy Wednesday, everybody. Paul Olbrantz with Loan Officer Academy. I'm super excited to have Stewart Sadler on with us today. Before I do the introduction here, let me just remind everybody a few things that are coming up. Remember, every Monday from 9:30 Pacific time to 11:30, I do what's called Monday Magic, where we get a group of people that are typically, maybe you're working from home, maybe you're just not supported at your office, and you just want to create some synergy with other fellow loan officers and call on realtors. Please join us. Usually we have about 3 or 4 of us making calls together, laughing together, and just having that proximity. And actually, the reason I call it Monday Magic is because when you put yourself in that kind of zone, magic starts to happen. Realtors start to say yes. They start sending you business. And before you know it, business is looking pretty good. Every Wednesday, just like today, we have a speaker come on, a top producing lender that's going to give you a tool that you can utilize in your business right away to help you increase your business. Because remember, the goal of this Loan Officer Academy, the only goal is we're trying together to help each other build a business beyond our fears and our doubts, which is really hard to do sometimes. And to have great people like Stewart on there is going to definitely help us. Just a reminder, next week, I am out of here. I'm in Poland. I'm going to be with Wim Hof. I'm going to be in shorts, climbing mountains with snow. I have no idea why I'm doing this, but that's what I'm doing. But nonetheless, here we are. So, Stewart Sadler. I met him. He was my coach at Core. He is a Core coach. He is not only a coach, he coaches top producing loan officers, like the best in the country. He is also a top producing loan officer, which that's kind of the unicorn. You very rarely get both. And one of the things that I really stuck with me, Stewart, I asked your permission for this, is that when he brought me on as a coach, we did quarters at the Core. We'll talk about that, I'm sure. He sends out an intro video describing his why. And his why for being a coach was not only did he want to give back, but every penny he earned as a coach, he gave it to his dad for his retirement. That was just I love that, Stewart, about you. That's huge.
Oh, that's awesome, Paul. Well, thanks for having me, man. I like helping loan officers as much as I can because I've been where a lot of them are. I've done a lot of things wrong, and anything I can do to help them get from A to Z quicker is what I want to do at this point in my career.
That's wonderful, man. And I do want to mention something. So a lot of people are wondering, why does this top producing loan officer and Core coach have a stuffed animal in his background of a dragon? If you are not a part of the Core, you have no idea how coveted that stuffed animal is. Yes, 2 of those stuffed animals.
Yeah.
You're talking about 500 loan officers competing for maybe 10 of them. And their volumes are well over 100 million. These are just the best. How does one win a stuffed animal, 2 stuffed animals? What do you have to do that? That's awesome.
So great question, Paul. So I'm going to tell my quick story and then I'll get back to that. Please. But I've owned Cornerstone Mortgage Group for 17 years.
Yep.
Was an IT consultant prior. Had an opportunity to open my mortgage brokerage out of my business partner's basement in June of 2006. So you want to talk about an interesting time to start a mortgage company? Like everything we're going through now, I'm like, it's not as bad as it has been. So That's how we started the company. And the first 10 years, we really grew. But I just got to a point, Paul, where I didn't want to try to invent everything on my own. I just knew there was somebody that knew how to do this better than me that I could just copy. And the story I used to tell my wife, which I thought made a lot of sense, I don't know if it did to her, but I was like, I feel like if I'm a home builder right now, before I get to build the home, I have to go cut the tree down, build the wood, create the nails. Like I just wanted all the tools to do my job. And I started interviewing. They thought they were interviewing me, but I started interviewing coaches. And what I quickly found with every coaching company besides the Core that I interviewed, they were like, well, back in 1999, I did 40 million. One, they weren't actively producing. 2, a lot of their numbers weren't even, impressive when they were. So when I found the Core, I'm sure some people know about it, but some don't. But the unique proposition is in order to be a Core coach, you have to actively be a top producer. So
Right.
when you're getting coached by somebody that's slinging mud with you in whatever market you're in right now.
Yep.
And that is invaluable. And the systems they taught me and the processes, like my income is probably 6 times what it was when I joined. My net worth is probably 15 times what it was when I joined, which I'm proud of. But the biggest part I'm proud of, Paul, is I have a beautiful wife and 2 kids. And if you would have looked at me 7 years ago, I was probably doing 60 million in production, but I was working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Right.
Like
Right.
I was really good at being a loan officer, and everything else in my life was out of balance. So fast forward to being in the core. I think I did 120 million last year. In the heyday in 20 and 21, I did over 200 million. I'm working a 40-hour week. I'm 8:30 to 5:30 Monday through Thursday. Fridays, 8:30 until probably 3:30, if I'm being honest, and I'm getting out of here. So I've just been able to grow while getting balanced everywhere else. So that's been the biggest piece I'm excited about.
See, that's a story I think people tell themselves, is that, I don't want to be a $200 million producer or a $100 million producer because, I have to sacrifice my family. I'd have to work more, and I'm not willing to do that. It's almost like they're just limiting themselves, but you're telling me that's not the case at all. You can have high volume and have a great family life in balance.
You just got to be really disciplined and focus on the right activities. So back to the dragon. So every semester, every coach gets 12 students. And there's 500 students in level 3. In order to be in level 3, you have to make more than 250. You have to have a certain net worth. There's requirements to get in, but every coach out of their 12 student gives away a dragon. And I'm a pretty hard worker. My numbers are good, but this gives you an idea. I've been in there 14 semesters. I've only won 2. So very proud of the 2 that I've won. But that coach says, hey, this was my best student this semester. They did the work and received the results.
That's incredible. And I think I just want to plug, it's okay if we just talk about the core just a little bit, because a lot of people are looking for coaches, and I'm not a coach. We're just here trying to help people. What I'm trying to ask is, can anybody be a top producer through the tools of core? What are the requirements?
100%.
About the income to get in.
So there's 3 levels in the core. Level 1 is basically, we will give you everything we do. We'll give you every system, every process. We'll show you the theme days. There's no silver bullet. We're not hiding something behind the scenes. I don't do $100 million because I know how to do something that you don't know how to do. I just do the fundamentals better than most loan officers. I'm just consistently doing those pieces. So level 1 gets you in the program to learn the materials. I need to confirm, and I'll send this to you after, but I think level 1 is currently $750 a month to get in the program. Level 2 is the next step up, where you're looking for some accountability. And you get a active producer that coaches you on a call with multiple people. And then level 3 is the top level, where you get a producer that's producing more than you in another market, and it's you and 2 other students on the call competing. And I'll tell you what's cool, Paul, is I always learn a ton from my coach, but the 2 other people on my call I always learn a lot from as well, because they're at a similar level in their career, which is why we got grouped, and they're in different markets. So you really get I never was in a fraternity because that wasn't part of who I was at that point in my life, but this is the closest thing I've had to a fraternity of people that I can call and ask any question about compensation, pay, how you do this, how you do that, and just they're an open book with sharing this with you. So if you're looking for coaching and you're serious, there's no better program. You can look at anything you want to out there, and I'm not going to name any of the competition, but I don't think the core has any competition, in my opinion. They just provide something that's different than everyone else.
And I want to be real with everybody here that's listening. I didn't bring Stewart on to pitch the core. The reason we're doing this is because I would say about 10 years ago, one of their coaches, the core coaches, I don't think he would mind if I said his name. His name is Jeremy Forcier. He's a great guy, and he just crushes it, right? My wife was working for him at the time, and he called me in, or he agreed to meet with me, and I was going to ask him to share some secrets. And he's like, Paul, I'll tell you everything we do, simply because I know you won't do it. And it was how he worded it was so perfectly, because it triggered that competitiveness in me. But the truth was, it took me 8 to 9 years to finally change gears and get going. And so the truth is, what I'm trying to explain to everybody, that it's not hard. It's just, you need to be around a group of people that have the same focus as you, and then you can build off each other. Because I think a lot of people get into groups, Stewart, and they The groups are, oh, we can make this happen, win, and the other groups are all, this is why we can't win. And I think it's really important to determine which one you're in.
Yes.
So
Absolutely. And Paul, what I want to talk to everyone about today, and
sure, yeah,
basically as a coach, Rick Ruby that owns it does the coaching the coaches every 2 weeks and gives us some of the most insightful stuff I've ever heard of. So
totally.
a lot of this is coming through him and other stuff. But the thing I want to talk about today, and I want everyone to write this down, intentionality and impactfulness. And we've got to be super focused on both of those. And let me tell you what I mean. So let's say you're calling on new real estate agents, Paul, and you're making the calls. What's your intention of that first call? When you're calling them, what is your intention?
Get an
Put you on the
appointment.
spot. Huh?
Get an appointment.
We get confused. Loan officers try to call and talk about rates, and I can do this and I can do that. The only intention of someone you're not currently working with when you're calling them is to get an appointment. And it is so simple, but it's so easy to go over it where, because I myself, COVID hit, we weren't doing as many appointments. I convinced myself I could grow my business over the phone and over Zoom. And it's not the case. We have to get in front of these people to build a relationship. Right. There's not one well account I have ever that I didn't chase until I got a coffee. And then after the coffee, I followed up. So the intention of that is to get the appointment. And you go to the appointment, Paul, you met with them, you think you did great. How do you know if you were impactful at that appointment?
How do I know?
Yeah. How do you know you were impactful?
Well, because I asked for leads and they give me a lead.
You get a referral, ding, ding, ding.
Right.
So intentions to set an appointment, and we know if we were impactful and really move the needle if we get referrals or not. So like, it's just focusing on what's my intention for everything I do, right? And the reason that's important is I've been subject to, I call it a check in the box mentality. Part of the core is you have to call, is now 50 realtors every Monday. Well, I will be completely transparent. There's been times of my career where my intention was to get through that list. That was my true intention. I wanted to say I did the 50 because it was my assignment, and I got through the list. That my intention should have been to get 5 appointments, to get 5 referrals, to make my relationship go deeper. And the reason that matters for me is if I could see everyone on the call, a lot of us loan officers are D personality types, right? Right. I am always the get stuff done person, right? That's who I am. Right now, we've got to be more impactful and in relationship with these people more. If you think about, you're starting this program, we're in the core, a lot of realtors are on an island. They don't have groups of people around them like this. And to the public and on Facebook, they say everything is going well. But if you could really start talking to them, they're scared right now. It's a scary market and they need some help. And we can provide more value than ever if we really get out there and be impactful. I'm going to hit you with another thing, Paul. There's 2 parts of impactfulness from that relationship. There's 2 words on how you be impactful. What are the 2 ways that 2 words that would define being impactful? And let's just say from a real estate agent standpoint.
God, give them something that I don't know. This one I don't know.
You're on the right to provide value.
I would say value. So the value, right? Michelle, thank you. She just threw out there. I would say, just based off my previous experiences and stuff, it'd save them time, it would save them money. That would be,
and it's all of those are under the value bucket. You provide value. No, that's what I've hung my hat on for so many years of my career, is that I'm the guy that's going to convert more of your leads, get the offers accepted, do a smooth closing, get you more referrals. That's all important. The second part's where I'm missing the boat and I'm working really hard on right now is being interested.
Oh my God, that's so
not interesting. Is asking the questions. It's getting to know them. It's going deeper with them. This is what I know for a fact, Paul. If you were trying to sell me something, if you're an insurance agent and you provide me a lot of value, I like you, I'll refer you right now. If you call me every week and you're just talking about value, I'll probably take your call for a business partner, but I'm going to have a 3 to 5 minute conversation with you. Paul, you're still my guy. I'll take care of you. Boom, boom, boom. I'll move on. And I'm not very deep in that relationship. Right. If you get to know me and know that my son Ryder plays baseball and it's became my hobby, and you know that Ryder just broke his wrist, and you start talking to me about that, all of a sudden I have a 30-minute call with you. I almost missed my next appointment, and I leave that call liking you better because you were interested in something I'm interested in. A lot of times when I call, I'm so value focused. that I'm not pausing to see what's going on in their life and connecting with them at a different level. Because what would happen is if you were only my value guy, if Danielle started calling on me, got in the door with me and connected with me on a personal level, she's going to slide you out the door at some point. Because I'm going to assume Danielle's valuable or she wouldn't have even gotten to me.
Yeah.
So then she's going to be more interested in slide in. And that's what's happening to us in our realtor relationships.
100%.
We think because we close on time and we do these pieces, there's been so many points in my life when I've looked at my business and said, do I go really deep with a smaller group of agents or really wide with a lot more?
Right.
And it's somewhere in the middle. It really is, because I'm going to share something with you guys called an account executive strategy. I got super excited about it. I became known as the phone burner guy because I know how to use the technology, but I was doing it wrong. I was trying to call 100 agents every Monday.
Okay.
If I call 100 agents every Monday, is there any way that I'm going to go deep with them if that's my goal every Monday?
No, it's impossible.
It's impossible.
I struggle with getting through 50, right? I mean, because I talk to people,
Yes.
It's a struggle.
One of the other coaches says Mondays is rocking chair conversations. And that's where he will talk to them as long as they want to talk about whatever they want to talk about. Taking into account, though, Paul, we have to be, in order to work the 40-hour week I'm talking about, I can't just be calling anybody, right?
Right.
Like I've got to qualify them first.
Right.
And you mean tell you how I qualify someone that
I
I'm going
would
to chase?
absolutely love that. Please.
Yes. They do 8 or more buy sides in the last 12 months. And it's someone I really want to be in business with that I like. And what I mean by that is there's some agents that I'll meet on a transaction and I can just see the personalities are too different. They don't have voicemail set up that says their name. They never return call. Their voicemail is always full. So you don't go after any new agents. Michelle, I'll jump in when I see these, but we'll circle back to all of these. Always I'm going after new agents. A lot of the agents I go after, though, I'm meeting on a transaction. I'm getting one of my best agents to introduce me to. I can cold call as good as anyone, but there's so many barriers to entry there. I'd rather spend time, if Paul's one of my good agents, saying, Paul, I know I ask you this all the time, but who have you done a deal with the last 3 months that you think would connect with me that I should call? Because then I'm going to do a 3-way intro and say, hey, Danielle, Paul and I work together a lot. He said you and him just closed 123 Main Street and you were someone I needed to know. That's how I'm going to go after trying to get in front of new agents, is through the same way we want to be referred, right? From somebody that already knows, likes, and trusts them. It just makes it a little easier.
So I'm writing that down. That is, I've never asked in the past 3 months, who have you done a deal with that you think that I would get along with?
100%. And then if it's one of your top agents, they know, they're like, this guy's a nerd like you. He likes to read books. He likes coaching. Like he's going to love you.
Totally. That's
like you just find a way to do that piece of it. So let me see if I can share my screen.
Yeah, please.
So one of the biggest producer in the core is a guy named Oleg, and he is always top producer in Seattle. He is just an absolute crusher. He taught something called the account executive strategy. And this was his whiteboard that I got a picture of that I saved, and this is up in my office. So this is the thing, Paul. Most people don't call because they don't know what to say.
Yep.
And then there's the people that do call and don't say anything impactful. So what I want to leave everybody with here on today, when I'm calling agents, I'm thinking about this grid right here. And if you start in the top left-hand column, do I have any leads from this person that I can call and check in and update and get back and forth with? Like, are we working on somebody that I haven't been able to speak to, basically a lead? Do I have any pre-approvals? Do I have some people from last year that didn't buy that me as a good follow-up person have never lost touch? Do you think my agents stay in touch with people from last year if they didn't buy and they kind of went cold?
No.
Hey, Paul, I'm not sure the last time you talked to Danielle, but I just reached out to her. They're thinking about getting back in the market right now. I told them to call you, but I wanted to make sure you call them. That left side of the quadrant, you know what that value of that is? That's money. That's money in their pocket. That's helping them convert. That's helping them follow up. That's helping them stay on top of stuff. I call agents a lot and I go, hey, have you spoken to Paul recently? And they're like, who? And I'm like, Paul Smith, you referred him back in November last year. Man, I hadn't even thought about that. Maybe I should call him. So anytime I can stay on that left side of the quadrant, that's where I am. But that's only people that I'm already in some sort of relationship with, right? So if I look at my lead tracker, I have no leads, I have no pre-approvals, or I know I'm not, I'm going to go to the bottom right-hand corner. Do I have any events coming up that I think are impactful? And the events for them, I don't do a lot of happy hours. One, I want to spend time with my family. Two, my agents are busy, but like I do a lot of masterminds, an agent mastermind. I do a first-time homebuyer class. I do a personal budgeting class, value-added item. So is there something I can call and invite them to?
Gotcha.
Like I have a mastermind class next week. I will call Friday, and some agents haven't gotten in touch with and say, hey, Paul, it's Stewart. I know I've been reaching out to you. I have a class with a guy that produced $150 million in real estate last year that's going to share all his secrets with us. I wanted to personally invite you to the call.
That's awesome. Now, would you invite new realtors to that? Is that how?
I absolutely will, because I'm doing it via Zoom, so I can fit as many people as I need to on there. And I'm trying to do an event a week that provides value.
Event? Wow, that's incredible.
I don't have an invitation, then the go-to conversation. Right. So the go-to conversation, Paul, every Sunday morning, I get up a little earlier than my family. I go in there to my office and I start thinking about what's important in the market right now to my real estate agents and what would be impactful if they knew more about it.
Right.
You know, awesome. It is the 2-1 buy down. It is a 21-day close. It is whatever I think is impactful.
Right.
So when I'm calling, I don't have a lead. I don't have a pre-approval. There's nothing to invite them to. I know what I'm calling about.
Right. I think that's really important. So I just want to mention one thing. You're very intentional with everything you do. You have a Sunday routine that you are planning what your intentions are going to be on Monday. I would say the majority of people don't do that. They actually sit there on Sunday morning and they fear or are just like wishing Monday wasn't coming.
There's a big difference between good intentions and being intentional.
Yeah.
Because I think every one of them has good intentions, right? I'm going to do it this Monday. I'm going to call people. They walk in the office. They get consumed by their email. They have an appraisal come in low. They have something blow up. All of a sudden it's 2 o'clock. They haven't made any calls. They're out of energy. I'll start on Tuesday. If you're not prepared and intentional, it will never happen. And being prepared and intentional for a call block is, who am I calling? All their numbers ready, and what am I going to talk about? There's nothing that can get in my way when that happens. And something I want to talk to everybody about is, I am a big time management guy. I'll share my calendar with you guys, but I think energy management is just as important as time management.
Right. And
this is what I know. If you give me a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I can run through a brick wall. Thursday and Friday is where my energy starts going down. So if I'm going to try to build a new habit, I've got to get it up and running. Same thing with my day. I'm more energetic from a prospecting standpoint in the mornings than I am in the afternoon.
Right.
So it's really getting good. Like my call blocks are all from 9:30 to 11. And this is the crazy thing, Paul, if you think about it. I call on Monday from 9:30 to 11. I probably could have more success calling agents Friday afternoon. They're getting ready to go out for the weekend. That's their busy time. I don't do it Friday afternoon. One, because the core told me I have to call them on Monday and I'm a good student. But two, it would never happen for me consistently because I'm too much. I just am out of energy by Friday.
That's good to hear. I feel the same way. But Friday morning, I'm dragging. It is very.
So it's building it around. The other thing I would tell you that most loan officers that haven't figured it out yet, they get really confused about urgent and important.
Yeah. Please
Paul, in our business right now, off the cuff, what is something that's truly urgent?
Gosh, whatever. Truthfully, for me, the truth is what's urgent is building my business, right? But in the past, before I was core, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to steal all this stuff, but from the core, before the core, it was whatever my mind thought was more important. And then I would never solicit. I would always get distracted.
So we get caught up in loan level stuff. So this is JJ Mazzo. Again, I'm stealing from another great core coach. Urgent is, does it affect the moving truck?
Yep.
If it does not affect the moving truck, it's not urgent. Let me give you an example. You walk in Monday morning, this agent you've been chasing forever. It's the first deal. Like you really want to impress them. The appraisal comes in 50K light.
Right.
It's Monday and you know your appraisal contingency is not up until Wednesday. Is that urgent or important?
To me, it is not important. It is important, but it's not urgent.
most loan officers are going to spend all their time in there and their energy is going to be gone. Me, I'm going to go, man, that sucks. I know I've got to deal with that, but more important for me right now is my call block. I'm going to get my call block done because you prospect in the morning, you work on loans in the afternoon. You prospect in the morning, you work on loans in the afternoon. And once you control your schedule and can really take a second to go, is that urgent or is that important? You're going to realize that we're not brain surgeons or heart surgeons like we think we are.
Right.
Because if everything's urgent, then the word has no meaning.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
100%. I just want to chalk it up, just chat about just a little bit more, because I think people really, this is one of the main reasons why you're talking about good intentions. This is what gets people not calling and not prospecting, because they get so overwhelmed with something and they feel if they don't take care of it now, they'll never get another deal again. This realtor will never, you know what I mean? Whatever that emotion is, you'll sit there and monitor an email for 3 hours waiting for a response. And I think that is a key difference between a top producing loan officer and not one, is they're able to compartmentalize that.
And it's back to energy management. So
100%.
once, like, if you give me an issue and I roll up my sleeves and get in it, I always get it fixed. But at the end of it, am I going to pick the phone up? Because let's take a step back. I call agents and do all this because I know that's what drives my business. I do
100%.
like people, but there's nothing easier fun about it to me 17 years in. I've got to be in the right mind space. Like I'll have a stand-up desk. I'm smiling in the mirror. I've thought about what I want to talk about. It takes a lot of my energy to do that. And anything like that takes me a lot of energy and willpower to do. Once I deplete my energy and willpower and I go to look at it, that's when I guarantee you, if I could have people raise their hands, good intentions on Monday.
Right.
Something goes wrong outside of control that wrecks your day. Monday goes to the wayside. You say you're going to start on Tuesday. Tuesday, something happens. Wednesday gets there. They go, I'm going to start over next week. And they just go back into the routine of what they've always done.
Gosh, there's parts of my life that are still like that. I got to look at that. That's wonderful. That is great. That is great.
What do you think one of the biggest distractions in our business is?
For me, right now?
For every LO, but for you too.
For every LO, I would say probably, I mean, just those emails. I really
email, you nailed it. Is emails. I feel like I need to respond immediately and what I need to say. And I'm finally at a point where I don't have to manage my email, because if you want to see me a distracted mess, it's when I see it. And like, I had to even get to the point where my assistant's been with me so long, she knows who to get it to, how to respond, when to call me. Because even if I see it and I know someone else is handling it, I still worry about it. And I'm wondering, did they respond fast enough in my head? And where I messed up when I was growing a team is everything feels super urgent to me. So I want them to respond to everything. And the way they say it isn't the way I wanted to say it. And I'd just get involved, right? I get in their job. At the end of the day, they don't complain. Email's not meant for, it's not messenger. You're not supposed to ding right back. You can look at it really quickly and see if it's urgent or important and then going about your day.
Yeah, you know what? I know that about you. And I got to tell you, when I called you, went to voicemail and I emailed you, but you responded really quick. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it didn't even feel like it. What I would do, just to people out there who can't hire assistants and stuff like that, one thing I used to do, and I think I got this from JJ Mazzo, I can't remember who it was that always have the automatic out of office reply on, and letting them know when you monitor your emails and when you'll get back to you. I think it's if people know when you're going to respond, they're fine. It's just that unknown.
I think a 2-hour window on most emails is acceptable. So like, even when I didn't have an assistant, where I'd get really good, if I'm being honest, I would do a 2-hour call block at that point instead of hour and a half. I do 45 minutes of call block, 15 minutes of catching up with email, 45-minute call block, 15 minutes. So I fit it in so that I felt like I was still getting it back to people fast enough, but I was not on email while I was doing it. I shut my email down when I call now.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
I am notoriously bad. I'll call you. I've been calling on you for 10 weeks. You'll answer the phone and start talking. As soon as I see that email talking about something, I stop listening to you. I start looking at the email and check out of the conversation.
Oh, I'm so guilty of that, man. I was on a call just last week and we were having a great conversation. And this email popped up and in my mind, I'm reading it. And then they finished the sentence and there was that, awkward silence. And I'm like, I can't have the emails up.
Oh yeah. Like you checked out, oh yeah, it's great to hear. And they just told you their dog died. That's not great to hear. You weren't in the conversation.
No, it's not going to win. It's not going to create a relationship. I'll say. What would you recommend to people that are new, right? How would you build, if you had to start all over, how would you build your realtor business up?
Paul, this is going to sound like I'm a walk-in salesperson for the core, but even if it's not the core, I would have got to coaching quicker.
Yeah.
Because this is where people get confused. If you use this right and truly do what they teach you, and again, it doesn't have to be the core, just find someone that's doing really well that you can copy their systems, is an investment and not a cost.
Right.
And it will pay dividends. I would do the investment in the core in everything in my life if I could, right? Because the money that I put in versus the value that I get out are so, like, money's here and values through the roof. So if I was new, I'd try to work on a team. If I was already further along that I couldn't do that, then I would basically look for some coaching.
Right. Because I think where the coaching really comes in is like the strategy. Everybody's looking for the perfect script and stuff like that. And by the way, what you've given today, I mean, that was all mindset stuff. And I think when I look back at my calls, truthfully, when you first asked the question, when you're making your calls, what's your outcome? Truthfully, a lot of the times it's just to get through them, just to check the box that I called 10 realtors, I said my pitch, right? But if I shift my mindset and really look at my intentions and what my outcome needs to be, it's a completely different exercise.
It is, because at this point on my 50 calls, I would rather have 15 amazing relationship moving conversations than check the box on 50.
Yeah. And I gotta,
and I'm still getting through my 50, but my intention is so different and my calls are so different because of it.
Now, how do you get through your 50 though? Sometimes I have a hard time getting through my 50 because like this week, seriously, I love the rocking chair conversations. I've only got to like 25 by like noon, and I was using phone burning, but we had a lot of great conversations. What do you do to get through them if you don't have that time?
Not everyone's going to have this luxury, but the one thing I changed about 2 years ago, so I still at my level, I talk to every client every time. Like I have a team, but I still talk to clients at least 4 times during the process. I'm involved. But what I stopped doing, Paul, is I don't do any appointments or any consultations on Monday. So if you see my Monday, I have my team meeting at 9. I meet with my LOs at 11, and the rest of my day is committed to those top 50 calls. So I can get it. I can have the rocket. So it doesn't fit into an hour and a half is the answer. And the only downside of that for me when I really looked at it is if we took an application on Friday, I usually talk to everybody within 24 hours.
Right.
So it's an extra day, but my team's good enough to know if like, hey, they took an application on Friday and they were looking at homes this weekend, I'll slide that in there. Right. But it's not like used to. If you looked at my Monday, I had the same problem you did. I was trying to have a realtor appointment and I was doing consultation. So I just didn't have enough time. And what I do know about myself is I am a really good student, but if you get me to where I feel like I'm running out of time, I will naturally default to check the box mode.
Me too, 100%. So I like that. I'm going to change that. I'm going to commit my whole day to it because it really deserves a whole day, in my opinion.
These are the 50, like think about it. If you just had 50 agents that you did 8 deals a year with, what's your business look like?
It's incredible. I mean, it's incredible. Well, it'd be mind-blowing here in California if I got 8 deals from 15 people.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, it's truly that simple, isn't it?
It is.
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No,
I'm trying to think. You should see all these notes here I got here. So one of the things, and please, if anybody has any questions, feel free to chime in.
Yeah, now would be a good time to see if anybody has any on anything that we want to.
Because what I love, you just took an hour conversation and gave us so much in 35 minutes. I got to tell you, Stewart, I'm so blown away. I'm so grateful that we've had.
My intention, Paul, was to be impactful. And literally, when you asked me to do this, the reason, even when I called you back, I looked at my schedule to say, hey, can I give this my time and energy? Because if I would have looked at the schedule and I would have felt rushed because I wasn't today. So I had a plot block where and then I was like, what do I want to talk about? And I spent some time yesterday thinking about what I wanted to talk about today.
And I do, before Tim chimes in, I do have a question for you. This is part of all this, so what do you do with your loan officers? I mean, do you teach them core? Do you what's your process with loan officers?
It is, Paul. So there's 9 LOs. We usually, in a normal market, we help about 1,000 families a year. During COVID, we helped over 2,000. So it was crazy, but we do a loan officer meeting once a week, and I share everything we do with them. Like every one of my people, but one has a team now, and I've showed them how to build the LP1, the LP2. I just constantly show them. I show them by how I do it. It's not me sitting at a desk saying, hey, this is what I think you should do. Like, I'm sharing. When I come up with a good script, it goes out to the team. Hey guys, this is what I'm doing right now. Give it a shot. So it's just showing them how I do business and let them watch me do it.
So I will say this. Now, do you help new loan officers? Like what's your ideal? Because what I always say to people, if you're a new loan officer and you're on your own island, you're probably going to have a hard time.
I don't think anyone should come into the industry as a loan officer. I think they should come in as a loan partner for at least a year, maybe 2. And I think they learn how to do the business that way. So if I hire experience, and I don't hire a lot of experience anymore, but if I'm going to hire you, I'm going to hire you on a team and show you the right way to do it. And then once you know how to, because this is the truth, I'm a technical loan officer. There's not one thing my team does that I haven't done 1,000 times. So if I jump in, I can fix the issue, I can show them what to do, and I can go back to what I'm doing. But in order to be successful, in my opinion, you've got to be good at sales, and you technically have to be a good loan officer as well.
100%. That's awesome. That's great feedback. And by last thing, so you're in Atlanta, Georgia. Is everybody in office, or do you have remote?
We have remote. So I have 30 employees. We own a building in downtown Alpharetta. I'd say at any given point, 10 to 15 people are here. Like, I'm here and my team's always here, my business partner and his team. What I found during COVID, and I never thought would have been the case for me, like I used to want everybody in at the same time. I personally think your loan partner 1, which is your loan officer assistant, your salesperson, they have to be in the office. They have to hear my conversation. That's non-negotiable. But my processors, LP2s, they can work remote as long as you hire the right employees and have your metrics set up so you can monitor it. So it's just depending on
that is such another conversation. Metrics is, oh my God.
But let me tell you something, Paul, and what I'll tell anyone that's struggling as a loan officer. I show up at 8:30 every day, and I'm here till 5:30 every day. Punching a clock and showing up at the same time matters, because there's no way to be structured and do as much business as I do within that time window without doing that. The waking up, having coffee, getting in at 10 o'clock, coming in at 2, some days working, it doesn't work. If you really, it's all about your choices. Do you want to have a more laid back lifestyle, or do you want to be successful in business? And once you answer that question, it should answer what time you get in the office every day.
How's your greatness tracker coming?
Yeah. Always.
Oh my God, how many more names you have than me? I'm so bummed.
Yes. Greatness tracker, I am usually most of the way done by end of day Wednesday with my conversations. At least I've had at least 70 great phone calls by end of day Wednesday most weeks.
You're amazing. I am so impressed with that. All right, now I'm humbled. Who's got a question here? Tim.
I do. Hey, Stewart, on your thank you, Paul, by the way. I was on Facebook, so if you thought I was late, I was on Facebook and jumped over to this. But phenomenal, by the way, Stewart. You kicked me kind of right in the butt where I needed it, which was great. On your board, the whiteboard, where you had the go-to conversations, because you've had these, you got the relationships with more of these, but when you don't have a relationship, you're kind of, I like this whole board setup. Like, okay, where am I going with each person I talk to? Are you taking like a 2-1 buy down and you just jump in and talk to them? Like, because you're saying your whole goal is, the intention is to get the meeting with them. How can you give us like an example of how you do that? So
100%, Tim, and that's a good question. So I showed you the account executive strategy. What I should have prefaced it with, for the most part, that's people that I've met with. I'm still trying to get business from, right? Don't confuse the account executive strategy with what I said initially. If you don't know them, you want to call and schedule an appointment. You want to get in front of them. Until you get in front of them, it doesn't matter. So this is how I keep up the calls after that. But the reason that's important, Tim, is because for 1.5 years, I thought the account executive strategy would work without me meeting them. I literally convinced myself if I called 100 agents every Monday with this go-to conversation or this invitation, that I could convert them. And it's not true. It's just not true. So like if you don't know them, the purpose is to get an appointment with them, and you've got to get better at selling that.
So can you go a step back then? Because I'm going to tell you, I'm trying to do kind of what you had there, executives in that, my view is it's like hitting a pinata and it's slowly starting to crack, but I need to go a step back and get away from this and go to the intention of that appointment. So how would you do that with the new guy?
Okay, so again, the majority of the new people I'm calling on probably was a listing agent. I do 300 to 500 deals a year. So there's a lot of listing agents that in the past I didn't convert. So they're still in my CRM. I've got the notes, and what I'm going for right now, Tim, is ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Tim, it's Stewart Sadler from Cornerstone Mortgage Group.
Hey, Stewart, how can I help you?
Tim, I'm not sure if you remember me, but we closed on 123 Main Street in last November. And Tim, I'll be honest, I really enjoyed working with you, and I wanted to see if I could get 15 minutes of your time to grab coffee.
I'm pretty busy.
Tim, I know you're busy. I've looked up your numbers and I know what a monster producer you are. This is what I know. I'm a big producer as well. And one of my biggest goals this year is to be around bigger people that do better production. If you meet with me for 20 minutes, if we never do business together, I'll give you 1 or 2 ideas that'll help your business this year.
Okay. What if I say, yeah, I really don't have time.
Tim, I understand that. Are you in front of your calendar?
I am.
Awesome, man. If we look 2 weeks out, when would you have 15 minutes that I could drop by and bring you a coffee?
Yeah, I really, I'm too busy for this. Everybody says they want to meet for coffee and I don't have time for coffee.
All right, Tim, I've been doing this 17 years and you're the guy I want to do business with. What I've learned, if they say yes on the first call, they're not doing business. Tim, I'm going to keep following up with you, and I'm going to go ahead and start providing you with some value. And at some point, I'm going to earn the opportunity to meet with you. I hope you have a good day, and I'll be checking in soon.
I love it. Okay.
Earn the opportunity to meet with them. That's awesome.
That's what I'm looking for, right? Earn the opportunity.
Yeah. It's a great way to say it, though.
And Tim, you know what happens to that guy? Go-to conversation every week, baby. Hey, Tim, I didn't figure you'd answer, man. I did enjoy speaking with you last week. I wanted to call and let you know right now what we're seeing win in this market is we're doing a 21-day close with no contingencies and just a 5-day due diligence. If the client listens to your offer price and puts his contract terms together, we know they're going to win. Just wanted to let you know in case you have any clients losing offers right now. Give me a call back if you need anything. Have a good day.
There's so much there. Can I chime in?
Yeah.
Chime in. At his very end of the first call, I noticed you just kind of said, hey, great, I'm going to follow up with you. Have a great day. Bye.
Implied follow-up, like
yes,
for sure.
Like it's happening. It's happening.
Guys, what is sales?
Yeah, don't ask them, just do it.
Thank you.
100%. What is sales? Overcoming objections.
That's it.
That's what sales is. And back, Tim, to the point of not getting the account executive, I want to meet with them. But that call that we just had happens to me a lot, right? I'm busy. I always say, Tim, I knew you would be. And honestly, if you just said you would have met with me, I don't think you'd be doing the numbers I see on paper. So I'm not surprised. And then I'm just rolling with the conversation.
Yeah.
I also think that dropping in to give them coffee versus having them have to meet you somewhere is pretty powerful too, because then that, they have to stop what they're doing in order to go have a meeting with you. Whereas if you just pop into their office, they don't really have a choice about it.
As long as it's scheduled, Michelle, I don't do the pop buys because I'll tell you, as a broker owner that does a lot of volume, I used to have account executives stop by my office unannounced, and they would see me smiling, walk into my door as they were walking through my office, and I would shut my door. And then I would go back.
I do too.
So as long as it's scheduled. Okay. Yeah.
It is, because if you want to annoy me, stop by my office and try to mess up my schedule unannounced. We will not get along.
Okay.
I totally agree.
I like to close the door on them smiling.
I would always smile and wave, and they see me shut the door and I go back to my office.
But when you get hey, I got one of my clients calling. They do all sure you get them all the time. They're calling, but what do you say then? Same thing.
I absolutely, Tim, if you got a client calling, man, that's money. Go ahead and take that call. I'm going to shoot you a quick email right now, and I'll give you a call next week to catch up. Have a good day.
Can I also hear an example of what your email says?
It's trying to depend on the conversation, but right then it would be a version of my go-to conversation probably. Hey, Tim, great catching up with you briefly. I hope you closed that deal with the client. I was calling because I wanted to share a 2-1 buy down, a strategy, something. I don't want to give them all of it, but I just want to set a hook and try to get their attention.
Now, Stuart, you did mention you're not checking emails while you're making these calls. Are you doing all of this through phone burner so that it's like automatically sent?
I do have it set up through phone burner, Michelle, and I taught a class at the core and I became the phone burner guy. This is what I'll tell you guys. Phone burner sounds super sexy, but this is what phone burner is not. Do not call a bunch of agents with an automated message and a canned email that you become transactional on. I don't ever use the automated messages. I use it as a way to keep me focused. And I'm actually honestly I'm looking at a click to dial through my CRM right now because phone burner is starting to have a little bit of a delay. And I'm already trying to stay focused on the conversation. If you want to see me get frazzled, the dead time goes there and I talk and they talk and we talk over each other and then I'm all out off my game.
Yeah. So you just
don't have to have phone burner, but yes, I do have some functionality built where it'll send the email. I did that up for a long period of time and it felt more transactional. So I'm rethinking what I'm doing there because the canned email is canned, right?
Yeah.
I'd rather be able to mention something from our call and be able to be more impactful with what I'm getting over to them.
Yeah, definitely. So you're just sending it directly after you talk to them and then you move on to the next call.
And Michelle, that is a great question because used to, I think you would have saw me like short circuit because I'm like not getting through the list, stopping to email. Now, if I had a good call, it's worth 2 minutes for me to send an email because this is the thing, guys, like Paul told the story about me retiring my dad. My dad owns a shrimp boat. My whole family are commercial fishermen. I grew up, that's what they did. Everyone asked me when I grew up what I wanted to do. And my answer was not work on a shrimp boat. And they said, well, what do you want to do? I was like, I don't know anything else, but nothing else. But my son, I never liked fishing because of that, right? Because it always equated to work. But I've got a 9-year-old son that loves fishing. So him and I do a lot of fishing now. And when I'm going fishing, I'm not trying to go out there and catch 50 big bass. Like if him and I spend a whole day at the lake and we catch 2 to 3 really good fish, we're super happy. That's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm calling more agents, but I don't have to set 10 appointments. Today I had an extra, usually I'm doing agent calls Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday's my other theme days. Today I finished my pre-app calls and just went ahead. I did load up phone burner and hit a list that I haven't called in a while. Agent said, Stewart, I don't know if you realize this, but we closed that deal together a year ago and you have stayed consistently in touch with me and you've worn me down. When can we meet? And I set the appointment for next Tuesday.
Awesome.
Anybody else have questions? I'm here for you guys.
Telling you.
You went through so much. It's going to take a little minute to let it all sink in.
Can we take a look at your calendar?
Yes, but
you were gonna say you were gonna pull that up. I don't want to put you on the spot because
no, it's going to be too much to read, but I absolutely will share.
I think it's important for people to see because you can tell a lot about a person when you look at their calendar, where they're headed.
That's my calendar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's packed.
Trainer, yoga trainer. I actually have a physical, so I'm not getting to work out. Call blocks throughout the week, coaching calls,
Birthday calls,
everything that's in here. So
that's wonderful, man.
Wow.
And it's very similar every week. So like I have my call blocks at the same time. I'm trying to have appointments with agents. The one thing I don't do is I tried to set consultation blocks so that I would say, hey, I'll do consultations from 2 to 4. My team knows white space, fill up my white space. So I'm trying to fill up appointments and they're trying to fill up consultations. So it all goes together. I don't know why I didn't use green, but red to me means they can't move it. Like that's in there in stone, but I'll pop green in there every now and then. It's something I want to do, but if they got a consultation they need me to take, they can write over that.
That's awesome. And then Stacy asked, what are the theme days?
Oh, phenomenal. So one of the core's big strategies that is a game changer is, y'all write it down. Monday, you call your top 50 realtors. Tuesday, you call your pipeline. And what I mean by that is you call the buyer's agent on your transaction, you call the listing agent on your transaction, and you call the buyer. Wednesday, you call your pre-approvals. All pre-approvals out there, you're calling Wednesday to check in and catch up with them. And guys, let me tell you a secret. I do a pre-approval call and then an agent call, a pre-approval call, then an agent call. Just spoke to Paul. They might want to increase their price point. I'm running new numbers for him. Just spoke to Paul. Feels like he's getting frustrated. What are you seeing on your end? Called Paul 2 weeks in a row. Haven't heard from Paul. Have you spoken to him? Is he still in the market? Because that's value to them. Right. Like there's no, what do I talk about to this agent? There's no go-to conversation. I'm calling and trying to help them convert a deal. Thursday is database calls and Friday is VIP calls. And VIPs are your financial planners, CPAs, anybody, any non-realtor person in your life that's important to you that can refer you business.
Do you make your database calls personally?
I do.
Okay.
Let me tell you my secret I'm doing right now.
Yeah, please.
Is birthday calls. So my CRM has all their birthdays. So I'm doing birthday calls. We do anniversary calls. Yeah. But I love the birthday calls. And so I'm still hitting my 30 database calls on Thursday, but I'm doing daily birthday calls. Can you believe how many people I call that I'm the first person that actually called them?
What's that? Say it again.
I'm the first person that actually picked up the phone and called them.
Yeah.
Like I got a bunch of texts and Facebook messages, but no one else has called me.
I got to tell you, the birthday calls versus the regular check-ins, they always kind of start here. And then when you give them the reason why you're calling, it always goes up. And it's just a wonderful conversation. It is so key.
Do you just start it, Stewart? Hey, I just called because I want to wish you a happy birthday and see where it goes? Or is there a script you can go with?
Hey, Tim, it's Stewart Sadler from Cornerstone Mortgage. How are you doing?
Excellent.
Awesome, man. Well, I just wanted to give you a call and wish you a happy birthday, man. You have anything planned this week or is it business as usual?
Just gonna hang out with the family, but I appreciate that call.
Man, Tim, hanging out with the family sounds like the best thing ever for me. Well, I just didn't want you to think I'd forgotten about you. While I got you on the phone, how's everything going with your house?
Great. Everything's good. And I'm glad you got me into a lower rate because things have moved up, I've seen.
Tim, you got to think, I've talked to these people through the process. We love on them. They love us. Like it's very seldom is it an awkward call. You may tell you where that call would be game on that I'm working on. There's a forum in the core called All About You that I started using and I didn't get everyone, but it finds out that personal information about them. What's their dog's name? What's their favorite sport? What is there? I will, in the next year, I'm working super hard that when I make that call, I have that one thing that excites them. Yep. One thing I know they like. It's Georgia football. It's their son's baseball team. It's something. Imagine on that call if I can reference that thing again. I don't know if you were on the call initially, but if they had in my record, talked to him about his son's baseball, they're going to get me every time.
Every time. And I do want to piggyback off that too. I do birthday calls as well. And it rarely, it may be their personality sometimes they don't get too excited and stuff like that, but rarely does it go awkward at all. I mean,
this is the most awkward it gets. Is Stewart, thank you for calling. I'm crazy busy at work. I got to let you go. All right, Paul, thanks. Have a good day.
Totally. That's it, man. And they always are very appreciative.
They are.
Absolutely.
Hey, how do you feel about mentioning the stuff that they have on Facebook? Is that you're kind of stalking them or? No, I appreciate that.
I think you could probably, I don't know. I'm 46 and I don't understand Facebook, so I don't use it at all. Like it feels stalkerish to me, but I'm pretty sure that's my mindset and not the truth.
Fair enough.
I brought it up once. I had this guy, his name's Kevin, great guy. And he said the funniest thing ever, man. And we had a great laugh about it. I think it depends, right?
Yeah.
I think it really depends.
It depends on your personality too, guys.
Totally.
Like I know who I am. I'm not a big Facebook, it's just I'm not good at faking something I'm not good at, right? Yeah. Like I sincerely enjoy wishing them a happy birthday. I really do want to know how things are going with their house. Because the cool thing is, Guy, you don't have to have this. You can use Zillow, but I have something called HomeBot. And it just shows is a newsletter that goes out to them. I've had it for 2 years and I've never used it. All I do is an automated thing. I think maybe it's good. I've started actually looking up all these people that I closed in 20 and 21. Mm-hmm. And even though I felt like they were buying at the height of the market and that was their concern, their house worth $50,000 more. So again, people like talking about building wealth. So we're like, hey, Paul, I know you were super concerned when you bought this house, you were overpaying. If I remember correctly, because I'll have in the notes paid 20 over list or whatever. Like I was just looking it up. You've already gained $50,000 equity in 12 months. Did you know that?
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome, man.
So you said you have HomeBot. Are you actually sending the emails out to your clients with it? I have my Home IQ, which is same as HomeBot.
It goes out. I just wasn't ever looking at it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure I get some value because they see it, but if I've got the data available, and the cool thing is it shows me when they've opened it and I see who they're getting. One of the calls was, hey, Tim, random question. I've got a monthly newsletter service that shows you the value of your home that we set you up on. It looks like you've never opened it. Did you receive it? And are you interested in getting it?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
It's huge, man. That's awesome.
Interested.
Yes. Yes.
Not interesting.
Looks like we have one more question, or maybe she's off mute by mistake. Irina, did you?
No, I do have a question, Stuart. Could you just quickly walk through, if you do get an agent who agrees to a 15-minute coffee meeting with you, what are the key things that you try to bring across during that first coffee meeting?
Irina, it ends up not being 15 minutes. A lot of times they're an hour, but it's just asking them questions. So do a little bit of research. Like immediately I'm going to see who I know in their office, right? So if I'm going to meet you and I work with Paul in your office, hey, so yada, yada, but just they met with you. And right now, Irina, it would be very, very straightforward. Hey, how are you? Thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're super busy. I just know you do a lot of business and I do as well. And I figured at some point we're going to run into each other. And I just wanted to personally introduce myself. How's everything going for you right now, Irina?
Wonderful.
That's awesome. I'll tell you the biggest issue I have right now is I think everyone's concerned about rates, but I think they know they're going to come down when inflation goes down. I'm seeing inventory be my biggest issue where my clients are having to bid above and are losing offers. Are you seeing a lot of that right now?
We've seen some of that.
Yeah. And are you guys, does your lender have any strategies in place to help you win when you run into that?
Some do, some don't. Depends on the situation.
Well, Irina, I know we only have about 15 minutes. So if you don't mind, after this meeting, I'm going to send you over a video I did last week to my agent showing them how I help overcome this. And I'd just love to share that information with you.
That'd be great.
Awesome. Irina, if you were looking for a new lender, what's the top 3 things that you would want that lender to do?
Add value. What they all say to me is they want somebody that'll bring them business.
100%. Irina, I'm glad you asked that question. That's one of the benefits of working with me. During my process, I'm going to ask the clients for referrals for you 3 times. And the agents I work with tend to get 2 to 3 referrals from me a year. Does your current guy do that for you?
I don't think so.
Irina, I want to show you that I can walk the walk that I'm talking about. Can I get you to commit to sending me your next 3 referrals? What I found is if you send me 3 referrals, we'll get at least one of them under contract so I can show you how I do this.
I'd be open to that.
That is perfect, Irina. How many referrals do you typically get a month?
10.
10, that is awesome. So hopefully over the next 2 weeks, we can get those first 3 referrals going. Anything else I can do to help you with while I'm here today?
Let me think on that and I'll let you know. But you know what I would love outside of this role play, this was a great role play, is the little video that you mentioned that you would have sent to me if I were an agent.
I would go record it. I probably didn't have it. I make stuff up on the fly if I need to. I might have it or I might not, but I guarantee I'd have it by the end of the day.
Totally.
Like I used to, this is the way I'm going to end the call because we have 1 minute. I used to get annoyed by that question. Refer me and I'll refer you. And this was always the same script that in my mind made me feel better and looking back is super dumb. Hey, Paul, I wish it worked that way. This is the way it works in the market. They want to see a house, so they're super excited to talk to you. And I'm unfortunately the necessary evil. So 95% of the people I talk to already have a realtor. That gets me nowhere. Yes, if you work with me, you'll close 2 to 3 extra deals this year. And I believe that because I do. Literally, I do the rapport call up front, and when I'm doing my initial consultation, before we get started, how'd you get introduced to Paul? Oh my God, Paul is the best agent in the business. He knows how to negotiate better than everyone. He is just, you're in good hands. They're always like, thank you very much. They go under contract. I'd go through my whole deal and I'm like, hey, I mentioned how awesome Paul was. How has he done for you so far? Literally just got him under contract. Do you think they like Paul? They do.
They love
Paul. Arena, do me one favor. Paul is great in every avenue but one, and I need your help with that. Would you mind helping me with that?
Sure.
He's too humble. He never asks for referrals enough, and I want to change that for him because I know how good he is. Do you know anybody that's looking to buy a home or sell a home in the next 2 years that we could introduce to Paul?
I'm sure I can think of somebody.
Please think on it. If nothing comes to mind, if you don't mind, at closing, I'm going to circle back with you on this and see if we can get Paul a referral. Is that okay with you?
Sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Congrats again.
Thank you.
You just make it sound so easy, Stewart.
Y'all are overcomplicating it. It is easy.
That's awesome.
I mean, that takes it the personality, taking it, making it personal, making it awkward between you two, you and the client. You're talking about someone they love and they're happy with right now. That's brilliant.
Gosh, it's so easy.
Brilliant.
Yes.
And it's
And
so
then I
much
start
easier to
giving
ask.
referrals.
Yeah.
And it's easy to ask for referrals for somebody else, and then by kind of
Yeah.
default, you end up getting the referral as well. So that's a great way to swing it.
All right, guys,
Yes.
I've got to go because I'm 2 minutes late to the next one. Thank you, Paul. I want a copy of the recording.
Yep.
Thanks, everyone. Quit overthinking and go implement.
There you go, my
Awesome.
friend.
Thank
Be
you.
intentional and impactful, and you will win in any market.
Awesome, brother. Hey, thank you so much, Stewart.
All right.
Appreciate
Thank
it,
y'all.
man. Later,
Bye.
buddy.
Thank you.
What just happened?
Wow.
That was phenomenal, Paul.
What just happened?
You know what's crazy, Paul, is that most of it is stuff you've said.
But how he's we were coached from the same people, but how he says it is so much better. I'm like, oh my goodness.
He's amazing.
Oh, well, there you guys have it. I mean, that is like